Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I was going to read today on whether or not Trump will take a plea deal, and then we've got 2020 to look at. And then all of a sudden, well not all of a sudden, after much contemplation, I thought about climate change. And I came to the conclusion that in a lot of ways this is window dressing, if you like. Our politics are window dressing, because if we don't get climate change right, then all of this will be a drop. In comparison to its magnitude, will be a drop of water into the ocean in relation to what climate change, the devastation that climate change can wreak onto communities. So I wanted to look today at what the Earth wants us to know in relation to climate change, and whether we're going to see an increase in natural disasters as a result of climate change in 2019. So let's just take the first part of the question. I'll just tune in. So the image that I'm getting are waves crashing onto the beach. And I'm getting also the narrative that the Earth is, infinitely, wise. And that from time immemorial, the footprint of human beings on the land has been monitored and has been, up until now, has been something that the Earth could mitigate and manage. However, it's now getting to a point where the Earth can no longer adequately manage or mitigate the damage that's being done to it. And so you start then to get these natural disasters coming forward as a more violent way, if you like, of managing the human beings' footprint, devastating footprint on the Earth. So there is more strength in the Earth than any nuclear bomb, than anything that we've ever seen. There's nothing that would counteract the Earth's strength. And so it's almost like in these images of the gentle waves, or not gentle, but the waves breaking onto the shore. Well, it is in a way gentle in comparison to hurricanes and tornadoes and other natural disasters. It's like saying that you reap what you sow. So if you're going to minimise your footprint, your negative footprint on the Earth, then you'll get a more gentle response. But if you're going to blatantly, destroy natural habitats for money, and it is nothing else but to feed the rich and the moneyed elite across the globe, if you're going to do that in such a brutal, violent fashion, then you will be met with that in return by the Earth. So what do we need? What messages, having got those messages from Spirit in opening up this reading, what other messages have we got in relation to climate change? What does the Earth's spirit, the Earth's energy, the Earth is a living being. Everything on the Earth is living, from the plants to the ocean flora and fauna, to the trees, to the soil. Everything is alive. And it's alive also with energy. And the energy is what we see in these climate change catastrophic events. We see that energy building and coming forward. So it's about energy and intention. So what messages from Spirit do we need to know in relation to climate change? So we've got really the Fool coming forward as our first card in the reading. The Fool is coming forward. It's also beginnings after endings. So which way is it going to be? Is it going to be we're going to continue with our foolishness, our lack of wisdom, and step off the cliff? Or are we going to have new beginnings? It's almost as if it's not too late to change, but we need to stop. We need to stop and take stock and understand that the strength of our actions toward destroying our environment will be met in untold strength in return. We need to face the truth. We need to face the truth. What is the truth? We're fools. We need to face the truth. Okay, so this card, the Ten of Wands, is all about carrying burdens. We need to face the truth that we are carrying the burden of climate change. We're carrying that burden on our shoulders. And it's hard work. It's going to be hard work for us. Again, we've got having to face the truth. But this is more than just having to face the truth. This is actually taking action. The King of Swords comes forward as, this practical action. We actually have to do something about it. But the King of Swords is also strategic planning and leadership. So this is saying that if our leadership doesn't wise up, if you like, if we don't understand what we're doing, then we're actually going to pay that price of the burden that we're carrying. The inspiration and the stability, the Queen of Wands. So in facing the truth, we also have to understand that we need to take inspired action to create the stability in the environment that we need. I mean, this is sort of like non-negotiable stuff. And look, the Trumps of the world, the rich merchants of the world, they're making it hard for everybody else. We are carrying their burden. We are carrying the burden of the moneyed forces in the world that are seeking to impact on the environment, drain the resources, take the resources, mine pristine landscapes, you name it, for money. They are making us carry the burden for that in our climate. It's the average people. So that's interesting that we had that aspect come forward in this reading, that I guess those that are profiteering from the Earth's resources are actually, in the end, impacting on us. We have to take this inspired action. I mean, this is the circles of support and the healing and the nurturing. We have to do this. We have to join together. This is not going to be solved by just one country. It's going to be solved by many. And of course, you have that in the Paris Accord, which of course the US is not a signatory to. And in Australia, we're lagging behind our targets too. So again, this is all about these moneyed elite that unfortunately are in power across the world, are making it hard for everybody else. And, it's I guess, I mean, the moon is all about, these hiding things, and it's also about treachery as well. There isn't an illumination coming forward. So it's almost like climate change action has lost its steam in the face of job losses, in the face, again, this exploitation of the moneyed elite. So we have, for example, the coal miners lost their jobs. Then we had the billionaire con man come and promise to return the jobs, cut renewable subsidies, didn't return the jobs, made tax cuts for the absolute upper echelon of material wealth in the society. And where are the coal miners today? So it's not just the moneyed elite here, it's actually the ignorance which is fueling this as well. But it's going to be grief, and it's going to be, if we destroy our environment, as we're destroying our environment, as I said, the strength of the environment will come back tenfold. I'd like to have some better cards than this, but I'm not drawing them. So I'm going to keep going. We do need this new start. We need renewed commitment in order to avert what potentially could be coming. And we need it for the future generations. And I think the future generations are going to play a role in unearthing this, this dark moneyed web across the globe, across the world, who are doing their deals to drain natural resources, to harm the environment. We're suffering for the next generation is going to suffer for their greed. And this card again, I often associate with the Trumps, and I think the moneyed elite, with the patriarch there, sitting there watching, his family's got everything. It's these dynasties that operate around the world, these oligarchs, I guess, and their families that are plundering the natural resources, who are now in leadership positions and making laws so that we're withdrawing from climate change accords. And at the end of the day, it's making it hard work for us, for the average everyday person. And indeed, as I said, those people that are concerned about not the moneyed elites, but concerned about their jobs, that in their ignorance, what they're doing is they're stabbing themselves in the back. That's what they're doing to themselves, in not understanding that if you close a coal mine and you move toward renewable energy, not only do you help contribute to a better environment, but you're actually producing jobs there in the renewable energy sector. So it's almost as like they're stabbing themselves in the back. But look, it's going to be painful endings. That's what this reading is saying, that if we don't do something about climate change and we don't do something about it soon, we will step off that cliff. So I'm going to close down this reading and go to what sort of conditions are we likely to see in 2019. Today in Australia we have a fairly bad heat wave. I was speaking to a friend this morning who said it was actually going to get to 46 degrees, and she's just she's not that far out of Sydney. She's not in the interior of our country where it will get possibly even higher. So we've had a number of natural disasters in 2018. And to me, what I felt is that the earth is, as I said, it's that strength. If you are gentle with the environment, if you leave a gentle footprint, then there will be gentleness in return. But when you start to destroy the environment, then there will be, this massive energy coming back. Now, it's kind of logical in a way because it's cause and effect. If you fracking, for example, what does that do? What does that do to our environment? So it is cause and effect. It's not just an esoteric card reading that I'm doing here today. The logic of it tells you if you harm your environment will answer you back in kind. So let's have a look. Is that what are we going to see an escalation of disasters, natural disasters in 2019 as a result of climate change? We're going to see an escalation of disasters in 2019 as a result of climate change. So we've got proposals coming forward. Okay, so there's still time to get back on track, to start making those deals to protect the environment. The smoke screens, okay, again, this can allude to we may see an increase in wildfires in 2019. again, this luxury, this greed coming forward in this reading. So again, if we don't change the path that we're on, we're likely to see an escalation in natural disasters in 2019, because it's justice. It's sort of like the earth having that last say. And again, you know, this is Mother Earth herself, the Empress, and that's that abundance. So this is saying that there will be increased activity in 2019 because Mother Earth is seeking justice. And judgment. Okay, so there's almost divine judgment coming down upon, I guess, nature's way of coming back because of the plundering of resources, because of this constant taking by the moneyed elite, by the forces that operate across the world, that think nothing of putting a mine near a pristine part, national park, or drilling for oil in national parks, or mining oil in the ocean. You name it. It's all about this, what we do in return for money. And again, it looks like now justice, the earth's justice, I guess the support that's needed, but also the alliances that are there as well. An alliance of three. So what is that? An alliance of three across the world that are undertaking some major environmental works, or environmental projects that are likely to impact on the environment. Russia, China, okay. What are the major nations that are currently impacting on the environment? I do get a strong feeling regarding China. I think that we're going to see some natural disasters coming forward in China. Even though China actually is ahead in relation to renewable energy, it is undertaking major projects across the world, major infrastructure projects across the world. And I think there's an element of having to pay for the past, its past sins. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's a major natural disaster in China. In relation to Russia, we could see some activity in Russia, and that could very well extend across to Alaska and those, possibly even Canada. There could be some sort of natural disaster happening there. I'm getting the sense of what we're going to have to worry about in 2019 are wildfires and also earthquakes. And things happening quite quickly. So that tells me that there could be something in the early part of the new year. And look, it's like pushing back. This is the earth pushing back and forcing human beings to retreat. So this forceful action that's going to come forward is actually going to cause people to think about climate change a little bit more deeply. So it seems to me that there will be some natural disasters coming forward in 2019. Potentially an earthquake around, I'm just getting Alaska and Russia, or up around that part of the world, and China. I'm getting things in China. But, our readings are saying it's not too late to rejoin or join or create proposals which tackle climate change. So I want to also ask, to me, Trump, one of the things that he's done is he was hell-bent on pretty much denying climate change and then taking a red-hot fire to any climate change agreements. He opened up national parks for mining, previously pristine areas. He opened up again for drilling oil. He seemed hell-bent on plundering. He went hell-bent on plundering resources, it was actually quite an affront. Does he represent the last of this kind of brutal destruction of the Earth's environment? Is he, this moneyed elite? Are we going to see change in future? What do we need to know in relation to Donald Trump and the destruction, the environmental destruction that he represents, and Russia as well? Okay, these are these are sort of like, these people are at the end of their regimes. We've got change coming. What do we need to know about Donald Trump in relation to climate change and the environment? Is there going to be change in leaderships? And are we going to take the environment more seriously? Here is the smug merchant. Here is Donald Trump himself. And he's actually going to be out of power, and things are going to change. This is the card of isolation. He's actually going to lose his money. It's almost like there's going to be an example made of him. And here is this proposal coming forward. So future leaderships are going to look more seriously at climate change because we're demanding it. Remember, we're the ones that are carrying the burden for it. And it's almost like the wheel of karma is changing for Donald Trump and for people like him, leadership like him. We're going to have to work hard to repair the damage, even that Donald Trump has done in 2 years to the environment. It's not just Donald Trump. We're looking at other regimes across the world. And we're going to be needing more of this feminine energy coming forward, this stability that the Queens bring forward. But it's also, it's almost, it's like we need to be honest with ourselves about what we're doing to the environment and why. Why are we doing it? We're doing it for money. This imprisonment, again, the the wheel of karma changing for Donald Trump and people like him. It's almost like they're going to be isolated. The Eight of Swords comes forward. It's like self-imposed restrictions and isolation, and sometimes imprisonment. So they're going to be restricted. Okay, so that's telling me that in the future, that may not be necessarily next year, but as the newer generation starts to take power and become tomorrow's leaders, we're going to be seeing a more balanced view toward the environment, more balanced policies toward the environment. And we do have the balance here coming forward in the High Priestess. She is someone that knows exactly what is hidden and what could manifest in the future. And finally, those that are seeking to plunder the environment are going to be restricted in some way. Restricted in some way by the strengthening of the environment, but also by the action that will come as a result of that strength that the environment is actually going to show. So I guess that's the reading on climate change. It's in relation to moving away from climate protection to the sheer plundering of the natural resources. But things are changing. The wheel of karma is turning. We have the environment potentially coming forward in 2019. There's going to be an increase in those climate change events. It's actually going to stop and cause future leaders to actually go back to those accords and to being knowing the truth and understanding the truth of what we're actually doing and why we're doing it to the environment. It's almost like things from the subconscious are going to be brought forward. I'm not seeing the Magician yet. The Magician follows the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is someone who, it's all in the ideas and the subconscious stage. The Magician will make it happen. So we're not quite there yet. As I said, it's not going to be accomplished in 2019 or 2020, but at least we're getting to an awareness of the plundering that and the why we damage our environment, and we're actually going to be taking steps in a way to try and mitigate that again. So we've got a way to go is the message of this reading. But the era of the Donald Trumps, the Vladimir Putins, they are drawing to a close. We've got new generations coming through who understand the importance of environmental protection because they're the people who have inherited the plundering that we've done for money really, and they've grown up with climate, the notion of climate change. They're not climate change deniers. So get out of the way, climate change deniers, because we've got a new generation of people coming through who are actually going to work harder to protect the environment. But in 2019, we are likely to see an increase in the environment having its say in climate change, natural disasters, and as I said, potentially around. I see something happening in China, and I see something happening around the Alaska, Russia area, up in that part of the world. And we're also going to be again battling wildfires. We could even do that in Australia this summer, and potentially again in America. So that is the reading that I'm getting on climate change as we move into the new year in 2019. I think it's important to stop and consider the environment and understand that what is going on with Trump actually does have a link to this reading, because Trump is an example of what can occur when we just have unfettered greed and the damage that he has done in a short time, in 2 years, to those accords and proposals and environmental protections. He came in with a very strong agenda to overturn that. But the wheel of fortune is changing, and as I said, get out of the way, climate change deniers. We've got no time for your ignorance, because a new generation of environmentally aware younger people are coming through. They understand in the backs of their mind, in their subconscious, what needs to be done. And they eventually will actualise it. Perhaps not in the next year or two, but eventually they will be actualising environmental protections that will stop this plundering. So that is the reading on climate change. Just something a little bit a deviation today from Trump. I think it's important that we look at the environment today, and so I hope you enjoyed that reading. Thank you.